Okay, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a little while. If you keep up with my videos, it's been a little while since we actually had a video on the channel, and that's because I took a little break. Obviously, between Gen 8 and 9, there weren't any leagues going on. People trying to acclimate to the new meta and all that. So SDL did not really, you know, didn't wait up for everyone else. They just went right in with the season applications, and then of course I applied, and here we are. So season 13 in the SDL. I don't even remember. I guess I could look it up, but I don't even remember like how we did um, last season. But I don't have the doc straight on hand. I only have the season 13 doc open on my other monitor right now. So yeah, I mean, we probably made playoffs and then just lost, or we just were barely out. That's usually par for the course for leagues that I'm in. I'm either barely out of the playoffs, like I don't make it, or I make it and then I don't get any farther than like round two, maybe round one. So yeah. Anyway, STL season 13, and in this video we're going to be breaking down the team. I actually think I have the battle tomorrow. Well, technically today, since I'm recording this at 2 a.m. and I haven't even prepped for it, so we're gonna have to do that eventually. But yeah, we were picked 16 out of 16, so we got the wheel pick, which is good in some ways and bad in others. So I didn't really come in with a draft plan like at all. I really just throughout the draft picked things that I thought were good and that I hoped were gonna be good, and yeah, we went from there. And I think the team is very balanced, and it's got some things going for it, but it is a little basic. And I guess we'll get right into it. So I believe the rules were you can get anywhere. You can either get 10 Pokemon or 11. We ended up drafting 11. You had 110 points to go to draft with. 20 points was the highest, which had Shanpao, Dragapult, Iron Valiant, Roaring Moon, and Zamazenta. And then 19 had Iron Bundle, Regieleki, Spectrier, or Shifu. If you don't know, like with the Terra thing, Regieleki can change into an Ice type probably, and then use Terra Blast and destroy those Pokemon that would usually resist its Electric type moves. So that's why it's so much more valuable in the terrestrialization meta. So speaking of terrorizing, whatever, you get 2 Terra Captains. They can be anyone, and I'm pretty sure it's any type. You can just Terra them into any type. I would rather it be one type, 2 captains with one type, however many captains. I'd rather be one type. It's a little bit easier on prep, but it's really going to challenge us to be very, very vigilant with our prep and make sure we're ready for any sort of Terra shenanigans. So yeah. Anyway, let's go through. I'm gonna kind of go by twos for this draft analysis because I drafted everything in twos except for my last Pokemon, because I was the wheel pick. So by the time it got back to me, there wasn't really much. I guess since I'm on the dock, I'll talk about what was drafted in front of me. So in this order, it went Regieleki, Zamazenta, Crowned, Shanpao, Dragapult, Iron Valiant, Roaring Moon, Iron Bundle, Spectre, Shiyu, which is like the goldfish, Tornadus Therian, Sneasler, Urshifu Single Strike, Golden Go, Palafin, and Slowking Galar. So I looked at the draft board at that point. There really wasn't much. I was considering Basculegion, male, because it gets last respects, and also Swift Swim and adaptability. So it was an option for sure, but I decided to go a different route. I just got, okay, can't even type. This is gonna be fun. I got Great Tusk and Cinderace. Now, Great Tusk just seems like something that people tend to use a lot early on in this meta because ground fighting is incredibly strong. Is there even another ground fighting type? I mean, I'm sure there is, but okay, never mind. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe this is only showing Pokemon that are that are like, yeah, I don't think, okay, whatever. Anyway, ground fighting, very strong typing. Obviously, flying types are can kind of resist this dual style, but I do have an ice spinner. I also get, you know, stone edge for that. My first pick is a stealth rocker, and it can rapid spin, which is really good hazard control. There I can also taunt. Probably won't be using taunt at all because there's so many other better options. Knockoff is great. I close combat and headlong rush, which is basically the equivalent, the ground type equivalent of close combat. So two very strong stab moves, along with head smash even. And this thing's stats are really good. Obviously the special defense is lacking, but with that HP stat, should be able to make up with that for that a little bit. With the photosynthesis, I'm going to spoil it. I didn't draft a drought user. I have nothing, you know, I have Pokemon that can use Sunny Day, but not, they don't have drought. So, I could have this thing hold a booster energy to get a little bit of boost, or I could just run Choice Scarf, which, you know, is pretty good. It'll last me the whole game, as long as I don't get knocked off, and that'll really help this 87 speed, because that's kind of in the middle of, like, you know, you're not going to outspeed probably everything on your opponent's team if you run Scarf, but you outspeed almost everything with 87 speed, so definitely a possibility. I can also boost my speed with Rapid Spin, so, you know, it could be a pretty potent late game sweeper, I think, if I'm able to get a Rapid Spin off and whatnot. So yeah, that was my first round pick, and then second round, I started off with Cinderace. This is going to be Libero Cinderace, which I believe, what is it? It's 15 points. So this is about how much it would have been before. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's Libero. I don't know why it wouldn't be. Yeah, because Greninja was in this, and the complex band was no battle bond, which makes sense. But, you know, Greninja, I think was, yeah, 16 points. But you can use Protean. And the thing is, if you don't know, Libero and Protean, the type changing abilities. So this Pokemon's type changes to match the type of the move it is about to use, but it's only for the first move you use when you come out. So let's say I bring out Cinderace and I use High Jump Kick, changes me to a fighting type. If I U-turn the next turn, it's not going to change me into a bug type. So you'll get the automatic stab and the type change for only the first move you use when you come out onto the field of play. If you switch and then come back out, it's going to be the same thing. You change in the type of the first move you use, but not the second. So I just figured, you know, Cinderace, it's kind of a steal with that. I mean, it basically got a buff because in Draft League, Liberace was not being allowed unless you were in a crazy league. I guess BBDL would be one of those crazy leagues that would allow that stuff. But yeah, 15 points for a Libero Cinderace, even though it's not as good anymore. It still is pretty nice. It's a nice speed stat. I can also court change, which is going to help for hazards, as well as my rapid spin ability here. I can bulk up. I still get all the coverage moves. I get taunt. I can super fang. You know, sucker punch. Just use a bunch of stuff, which is going to be really fun. Also Trailblaze. So just in case I want to use Trailblaze, I guess for like bulky water types, it's not going to do that much anyway. But we might be able to stall them out if I'm a grass type. I'm kind of resisting their water type attacks. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, Liberace can do some work for us. So the next two picks, again, this was kind of like, I had a busy week at work while we were drafting. And that's, like, I'm not trying to make an excuse, just to kind of give a reason, because, like, it doesn't really matter. It's just Pokemon. So I was kind of going, once I got pinged, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'll just check the doc now. So I really had no plan going in. And throughout the draft, I just didn't really make a plan. I saw Gyarados at 7 points, so I grabbed it. And then I saw Goodra, Hisuian Goodra, Steel Dragon. That's a cool typing, so let me draft that too. That was the thought process. I think Gyarados and Goodra, typing-wise, they pair really well together. Of course, Steel and Dragon is weak to fighting and ground. Gyarados can deal with those two types pretty well. Gyarados is weak to rock and electric. Goodra can deal with that pretty well. So, on switching, this Pokemon lowers the attack of opponents by 1 stage. Intimidate is very strong ability. I don't know, I heard there were rumors of it getting nerfed. I don't even know about that though. If it did, then that's probably why it's 7 points. But if it didn't, then hey, we're in a great spot with this. Even if it did, I mean, look, Gyarados is so, I feel like it's so underrated as a water type. It's got base 100 Speed F, 95 HP, 79 defense, which isn't good, but with the Intimidate, it makes it better. Very strong. It's got a decent enough speed stat. Incoming yawn. I can run heavy duty boots with this. I could also run Moxie to get that boost, attack boost if I need that. And it has a lot of weird, you know, like text that I could run, like Taunt, Thunder Wave. I do get Scald on this, which I heard, and I'm pretty sure a lot of Pokemon lost Scald in Gen 9, so you know, it could be a, you know, if I'm like running like a bulky set, Scald could be nice to tech there. And then just Dragon Dance, you know, Earthquake. This is one of my Terra captains because I feel like Terra Ground could be really powerful for Earthquake. You know, switching into a ground type to be immune to an electric type attack, something like that. So yeah, that is very fun. Yeah, it's just a Gyarados. 7 points. It felt like a steal, so I just went with it. Next up, Goodra. This was 11 points. I figured, I just think this is better than regular Goodra, just stat-wise. It's slower, but no one was really using Goodra for speed anyway, unless you run like that, like a wacky Scarf set once in a blue moon. You know, and its HP is a little worse, but it makes up for it in defense. It's got much better defense, and that's basically what it is. You lose 10 in HP and 20 in speed and get 30 in defense. So I think that's a very good trade-off, as well as its typing being just better. Being a steel type is so good. It gives you new resistances, bolsters your old resistances. It's just very, you know, very tough as a typing, especially coupled with Gyarados, like I was saying. It can run mixed because it's still got a decent attack stat. I can run it Assault Vest. I could do some crazy stuff. Shell Armor, you never know. Like I could go, what, Acid Armor? Does this thing get an Amnesia? No. I can't get Poison because I'm a Steel type. And if I go for Acid Armor and Body Press, I can't get Crit. And I already have this crazy special defense set, so this thing can go crazy, probably. Of course, we'll find out eventually, but yeah, that's Hisuian Goodra for you. Next up, I got Hisuian Zoroark. Again, just kind of picking things that I like looking at. I think this thing is really cool, especially when it's shiny. Oh my goodness, that looks so cool. Normal Ghost is a really crazy typing, really kind of hard to match up against because it's immune to 3 types, and you couple that with Illusion, and you know, it can be very flexible as far as what you do with this thing. Nasty Plot plus my dual stab in normal and ghost, really good. I mean, what really deals with normal and ghost? I mean, no one type for sure. You know, you think dark types, but then I just click Hyper Voice. That's a neutral hit. And if I'm +2, that's doing a lot of damage. I do get priority with Shadow Sneak. I get U-turn. I could even run a Swords Dance set because its attack is pretty decent. You know, if I wanted to do that, does Great Tusk hit? No. Okay. I don't know what I'd disguise this thing as, to be honest, on my team. It's gonna be a little rough. Well, yeah, I don't know if anything else. Well, yeah, at least one other Pokemon gets Nasty Plot on my team. But it's really just about that first turn, just surprising them with a Ghost type attack. Maybe if I'm disguised as Goodra and I'm in against the Psychic type, they'll probably switch anyway. Not many Psychic types will beat Goodra, I imagine, but I don't know. Maybe it's a Medicham or something, and they're like, hey, I'll just close combat. Nope, because I can Shadow Ball. I also get Bitter Malice, which is a cool move. It's a little weaker than Shadow Ball, and I feel like Zoroark's already so frail, it's not really going to matter if I drop their attack, but I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, that's this Pokemon, and hopefully we have fun with it. I also got Muck, while I was drafting Zoroark, because again, we do this in pairs. Alolan Muck. So I got Hisuian Goodra, Hisuian Zoroark, and Alolan Muck on this team. I just really like this Pokemon. I think it's, you know, very underrated, to be honest. I picked this up for 10 points. Zoroark was also 10 points. I was kind of like really getting like middling, mediocre Pokemon, like as far as the tier lists. Nothing else on my team is above 10 points, like after Goodra. So, yeah, very even Steven kind of draft here. Gluttony is very good because if I pair that with, you know, Papa Berry or, you know, whatever, any of these berries, plus I get Recycle, that's definitely a good set. I could also run Assault Vest. This is my other Terra Captain, so it's Gyarados and Alolan Muck. Just because I felt like if I go like Flying or Grass Terra and just stop ground types from doing much, that could be really helpful. And maybe I could like Terra Blast them or something. Figure out a way to do that. That would be fun. Another yawn. Sorry if I made you yawn. I know those kinds of things are contagious. For me, at least, for sure. Knockoff is a great. Knockoff is a great move, of course. I already have 3 Pokemon that have access to Knockoff, which is really good. So yeah, looking at stats, pretty decent. I don't know. I feel like I don't need to really talk about Muck. I feel like people know what it does in essence. Next up, I got Rotom-Mow and Staraptor. I think something got sniped here. I don't really remember. Oh, I think it was a Zelf. I wanted a Zelf and that got taken. So like, damn, now I gotta kind of switch things up. I was gonna get Hisuian Electrode. It's an electric grass type. It's like 4 points. I figured with that speed and with being a grass type, it really helps out. You know, being an electric type, you know, you're resisted. Ground types are immune to you, but being a grass type, it kind of dissuades ground types from coming in. So I feel like that could have been a good you know, low tier value pick, Electrode Hisuian. But then someone actually ended up drafting that. But once the Zelf went off the board, I just decided to get Rotom-Mow. I had my on Staraptor for a while, so I ended up drafting that too. This is the Pokemon that gets Nasty Plot that I might be able to disguise with Zoroark, because I feel like Nasty Plot Rotom it's fairly common. I think the Rotom's typings in general are really good, so you know, besides like Dragon types, I can really run through things with Nasty Plot. I feel like a middling speed stat, you know, per the usual for this team. And you know, again, it's just a Rotom-Mow. You know, it defogs, it pain splits, it tries to status you, it volt switches around. So hopefully it can do what I need it to do. Also a nice Choice Scarfer with Trick and all that. Another potential Choice Scarfer here in Staraptor. It does get Intimidate, but more likely I'm going to be using it as a Reckless boosted Wall Breaker. 120 attack is beautiful. I don't know why it does that, but 100 speed is manageable. Again, I could run it Scarf, or I could just run it Banded if I want to be a true Wall Breaker. You know, or I could run like a defensive Intimidate user with you know, with Boots and Defog and U-Turn and Roost, and you never know. So Close Combat is really helpful. I mean, Staraptor is one of those Pokemon that, like, it's kind of in there with, you know, Unfezant and Swellow and Pidgeot. I just think it's the best. I really like Swellow too, but I think Staraptor is just the best of those kind of early game birds. Maybe Talonflame. It's either Staraptor or Talonflame, but I just love this Pokemon's design, and I've always wanted to use it just for the heck of it, and I've never actually done it. So we're putting our foot in the ground and saying, hey, we're using it this time. Its shiny also looks really cool, so I'll probably be using it as a shiny Pokemon. Next up, I got Florges and Espeon. I wanted a Spin Passer, and I realized I didn't have a Fairy yet. I know Florges is bad, but I drafted it anyway. It's got a defog, you know, it can kind of hard check a lot of special attackers that can't set up, which really isn't many things nowadays, but I'm saying nowadays as if I'm like 50 years old. But yeah, it's a Wish Passer, which really helps out my team, because there's pretty much nothing else on my team can actually heal itself. You know, there's nothing besides, I guess, the berry and plus recycle with muck, but that's kind of it's not really always the most reliable thing. Pain split isn't always the most reliable thing. Gyarados doesn't get recovery. Gouda doesn't get recovery. Of course, I could run Resto Chesto, but that's iffy. Wish Protect, Wish Passing from the floor just is pretty good. It doesn't have the best HP stat for Wish Passing, but it'll have to do. Obviously, that special defense is huge. I could run just full Fizz Def and still be able to take special hits. Probably better than physical hits, so I guess we can just check. Yeah, my Spit F is still way higher, so yeah, I could also change it to blue. I'll probably, I don't know, which one will I use? I think the white one looks pretty slick. Yeah, it's either the blue or the white, I think, look the best, but whatever, that's besides the point. I wish it got like a decent ability, but it just doesn't, so. And then I drafted Espeon because I wanted a Psychic type, and it was kind of that replacement for Zelf. It doesn't do what a Zelf does. Like, it's not nearly as good, but it'll have to do. This Pokemon was only 6 points, and Magic Bounce is great for, bouncing like status. It can bounce back hazards, all that stuff. And I can also use it as like obviously it's really frail on the physical side, especially. But if I run like Fizz Def and I just run Calm Mind Recover, if the opponent is either out of, wall breakers or out of Pokemon that can really damage Espeon a lot, or that just don't have any on their draft period, Espeon could go crazy with a few Calm Minds up, being Fizz Def, having Morning Sun, and just stored power, and then whatever last move, I guess Dazzling Gleam for Dark types. You can't status it because of Magic Bounce. Like, that would go pretty crazy. I feel like that'd be pretty powerful. So that's the Espeon. I'm probably not going to do that much. This is usually going to be, a baton, probably like a Scarf Baton Pass kind of momentum getter. They might be able to put in some work late game if certain Pokemon go down. So, yeah, that's the Espeon. Last but not least, I had 8 points left. I didn't know what to get. I felt like I had every typing that I really needed, so I just went with Cloyster. Because it's another rapid spinner, it gives me even more hazard control, and also has the ability to set up spikes and toxic spikes, which is really cool. So also obviously the Shell Smash threat is right there. I considered this as a Terra Captain, but I just went against that because I felt like I didn't really need it to be a Terra Captain. I don't know. I felt like Muck and Gyarados were better candidates. So, Skill Link obviously helps with, Icicle Spear. Gives me like 5 hits every time because of Skill Link. That's really cool. Awesome. Good to know. I get priority with Ice Shard. I can explode if I really wanted. Right? Can I explode? Okay, I can, yeah. So, what's my water type attack? I guess Waterfall. It doesn't get Razor Shot. I don't know, Liquidation. I'd use Liquidation probably. I could also run this thing special. I mean, I feel like this is usually a physical attacker because of, well, it's stronger on the physical side, and Icicle Spear is basically a guaranteed 125 base plus stab move, which is really good. But it could, surprise people on run. I could surprise people on run special, Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, that kind of thing. Doesn't get Scald apparently, so that's something to keep in mind. Anyway, yeah, that's the team. It's not flashy, it's not crazy. I hope it gets the job done. If it doesn't, oh well. But yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling about this one. Not too sure how we're gonna do, but week 1 we go up against Economical and his team led by Regieleki. I don't know how they're doing the schedule, but I ended up. I think it's pretty ironic that, or maybe this is on purpose, but the first overall pick, the guy who got the first overall pick, challenges or battles the guy who got the last overall pick of the first round. So the two wheel pick people are gonna throw down in this week 1 showdown. So anyway, I'll see you there. I don't know when I'll upload that. Probably over the weekend. Because like I said, I'm having the battle technically today, so that should be a lot of fun. And yeah, I appreciate you sticking to the end of this. If you did, if you skipped through, I mean, that makes sense. if you want to see the team in full, I mean, this is what it is. It's nothing crazy. Just some fun stuff sprinkled around, and we're gonna have fun. That's what we're gonna do. All right, we're gonna give it all we got. Definitely try to win the games that we battle, because otherwise, you know, I'm not gonna invest all this time to just not try to win. But the main object is to win. Obviously, we are the Montclair Nightmares this week or this season, so that's gonna be the logo we're gonna stick with. Yeah, that is about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll try to upload this Thursday, which would be today, but we'll see what happens. I might just procrastinate and then end up not doing it. Definitely possible. So, yeah, again, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in a few days for week 1. Alright, thanks for watching.